Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV for your daily news. It's Monday and there's an absolute ton of stuff to get through, which is weird because normally it's just post-match, but there you go, that is the world we live in right now. And the title of the video, which you've probably seen and probably the thumbnail as well, is around Phil Coutinho. We may as well kick it off there. Still to come on the show, we're going to be talking about James Pearce, reacting and giving a little bit of transfer news with regards to Virgil van Dijk and how Liverpool may or may not be lining up somewhere else in replacement for him a bit later on, and some stuff on Ryan Kent as well. But Phil Coutinho, so Barcelona set a 7 p.m. deadline yesterday, the 20th of August, for Liverpool to basically take it or leave it on the offer that they'd already decided to leave. Which was baffling, if I'm perfectly honest. It led to things like the Daily Mirror suggesting in the morning of that they were preparing a fourth massive bid that was going to be like 120 million quid. As we saw, we didn't get a chance to react to this because it obviously happened Friday, Saturday, Sunday and what have you. But apparently the last bid that Liverpool received was supposedly 80 million. Spread over 5 seasons, and then with add-ons was going to take it up to 120 million euros, I think, which is, or maybe a bit more than that, which 130 million euros, which is around 115, 118 million quid. Liverpool obviously told them to, which was always expected, given, and I've said this before, they have reiterated their stance time and time again that the player simply isn't for sale. They went so far as to write a thing about it on the website, and the managers repeated it time and time again. Now, of course, we've seen situations where managers have said things aren't going to happen, and they have happened. Brendan Rodgers, Mario Balotelli being a great example of that in recent years. However, again, Liverpool standing firm, and what's great to see is the reporting around this is very much like Liverpool baffled. Liverpool seem to think it's all a bit weird that Barcelona continue to press on when they've been told. What's good as well, I've got the notes here. Thanks very much, Ben, by the way, for that. Top work. Liverpool journalists and Sky now believe the matter to be completely closed. Now, whether this means Phil Coutinho's back injury will miraculously clear up, I don't know. I suspect probably not. We'll find out whether it is genuinely a back injury or not, although there's been talk with in some rather derisory terms from all kinds of quarters at the moment. So yeah, we'll see how that happens. But good. I mean, ultimately, I don't think any of us will truly relax over the Coutinho stuff until the deadline day. Until deadline day passes, the window closes, and we can say, well, he's definitely not moving. He's still a Liverpool player. And I, for one, would just welcome that happening. I just think he needs to get back to playing his footy. You don't always get what you want, as the Beatles once said. Don't think people bite to things like that, do they, on YouTube? Anyway, so yeah, hopefully we can all relax about Coutinho and move on, but I suspect it'll be another week or so before we genuinely can. So Virgil van Dijk, genuinely bored of talking about him, and inevitably we're going to have to continue to talk about him until once again the transfer window shuts, because here I am saying on one hand, listen, Liverpool's board have been very clear, they've been unequivocal on Phil Coutinho was not for sale, and yet here we are talking about Virgil van Dijk, who's, you know, the Southampton board and chairman have been very unequivocal in the fact that he won't be sold. Now they're due to complete the signing of a centre-half from Lazio, whose name is on this sheet. Is it? It's not on this sheet. What's his name? Amazing. Let me know in the comments below. I will be reacting to some of your comments momentarily. But yeah, they're due to sign a centre-half for around £17 million. And he's been guaranteed first-team football by Pellegrino as well. So that does open the door again. Will there be more interest? I'm not sure whether this is ever going to happen with Van Dijk. James Pearce, though, of the Liverpool Echo, is reporting that although Liverpool are willing to pounce if Southampton's stance changes over Van Dijk, if they cannot secure services, however, it's highly unlikely that Klopp will look at alternatives and will push forward with Matip, Lovren, Klavan and Gomez as centre-back choices for the season. I saw someone mentioning meltdowns on Twitter. I'm trying to avoid them to the best of my ability because who needs them? I think we all know. If we see something that we're not happy with, we know it. We all know it in our heart. I don't think it needs to be reinforced by people losing the shit on social media. I think at a very basic level, I think the fact that Gomez is clearly being used as cover at right back, we don't know how long Klein's likely to be out for, still suggests, I think, that we are a centre-back short in general, if I'm perfectly honest, unless John Flanagan suddenly just finds his 13-14 form and becomes a very much a proper possibility as a right-back cover. At the minute, we still look a little bit light. Thoughts on that, please, in the comments. And what is also contained within James Pearce's article is that God, have you got the name? Wesley heard. Yeah, guys, that one in there. Liverpool have no intention of moving for Julian Draxler, as his position is not one that Klopp is looking to strengthen. Now, yeah, fair enough. I think we're okay. Honestly, I think we're okay for attacking positions. I think we are short of centre half, and what again Pearce goes on to say is that they are still in the market for a centre midfielder, which I think is absolutely necessary. Now it's what type of midfielder, and I'm sincerely hoping it's an attacking midfielder, if I'm perfectly honest, because I think as we've seen in the game so far, I think between Milner, Wijnaldum, Chan, Henderson and Grujic, we've got guys who can do a lot of the dirty work. What we don't have is another person who can do remotely what Coutinho and Lallana do in the team, and that's where I think Liverpool are very, 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 very light at the moment. So a couple of things to press through as well. Oxlade-Chamberlain's been offered a new 4-year deal. Apparently his wage is going to be 125k a week to fend off Liverpool and Chelsea. Frank de Boer said that a move for Mamadou Sakho would be too expensive for Crystal Palace, but West Brom remain interested, although that could be dependent on Johnny Evans moving to Man City, which will be hilarious either way. And Ryan Kent, Ryan Kent, I've got he tweeted. Was it tweeted? It was tweeted. So I've got the expression. He tweeted, "Ich kann nicht warten," which means I cannot wait. Apparently he's been linked with a loan move to, amongst others, Hanover, but apparently Leipzig, Freiburg and Stuttgart also interested, apparently because of his performances in the Aldi Cup. Middlesbrough back home, or closer to home, also interested. This would be a shame for me, and this is where I might be interested. I wouldn't mind seeing Liverpool go for another winger, because I still think that again, if we're going to play Salah and Mane consistently, I do think we're a body short. It doesn't mean a 26-year-old. I mean, I think we're an 18 to 21-year-old who can do that job, who wants to learn his trade. Sure, particularly if Ojo's gone out as well. So thoughts on that in the comments below, and I will start to plough through some of your comments as soon as I unlock my phone, open up the page that it's on.
FPS glow.
Exactly.
Who the fuck do Barca think they are, giving us a deadline?
Oh, I know. Barca can clearly shove it up the hoop, and which is why I love the most about this. And is the thing. I've seen a lot of people outside Liverpool saying things like Liverpool need to do. They're cutting off the nose to spite the face. Jimmy Genius talking out of his bumhole. Liverpool need to re-establish themselves, and this is exactly what RB Leipzig have done to us, and therefore I see no reason why Liverpool shouldn't take the same sort of road. Leipzig have gone from nowhere for them, and they've broken into the Champions League after having an amazing season, and if they're not careful, they'll shoot straight back down again for all the money in the world. If you start positioning yourself as a selling club and as a small club and as a club that's below it, look at Dortmund compared to Bayern. Dortmund will never be genuine competitors of Bayern Munich in a long-term sense, because ultimately Bayern Munich steal all the best players every season, and that's an accepted, well-trodden path. Southampton simply do a similar thing by turning Liverpool down, let's be honest, but Liverpool should do what Leipzig do. Say, listen, Barcelona, if we say you can have our players, no matter how much you pay, you're and settle our players, we just give them because we can't be arsed with the hassle, then we're effectively saying Liverpool are in a tier below Barca. Whether that's true or not is completely irrelevant. It's about, sometimes you've got to fake it to make it. And if you want to be a big boy, you've got to act like a big boy. That's what I tell my son all the time. And Liverpool needs to do the same. So you're right. To the Barca, I think they are absolute whoppers. Go on, Si.
Johnny Evans is 10 times better than Lovren.
He's definitely not 10 times better than Lovren. He's probably a little bit better than Lovren. But I'd be interested to see how he performs at Man City. I don't think he would improve Man City's. Is he? Okay, let's put it this way. Vincent Kompany is injured again, and Johnny Evans comes in for the match. Do Man City maintain the same level of defensive prowess? Let me know in the comments underneath. Okay, Pranish Shrestha says FC reject Alona. Have a little think about that.
A1 Basil says, Paul, do you expect Coutinho to come back before the deadline, as the Barca ended interest in him?
That yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. if it's genuinely ended and there's no chance of it, we'll like I say, we'll find out what the deal is with Phil Coutinho, whether he's genuinely injured. I would imagine he probably has got something that's probably not quite as bad as it's maybe being made out, but that's pure speculation on my part. I simply don't know. I don't. I think it'll probably be for him to save face a couple of weeks, and then it could, maybe after the international break, he's had plenty of time then to get fit, and all of a sudden he's fine again, which would be annoying because we desperately need to have a player of his quality back in there. Apparently we're still using shit microphones, so
Yeah, it went down a bit. 30 seconds. It should be okay now.
amazing. Someone's saying, should we go for Snipe PWNY? Should we go for Draxler? Kind of irrelevant, as I've discussed there. We're not interested in him, so I wouldn't worry about it. And Sean McLean says, I want Draxler, please. But again, it's not happening. So again, I wouldn't worry too much about it, if I'm perfectly honest.
Ram ZP1, start Dom Solanke against Hoffenheim.
That's an interesting shout. Maybe. I don't think so. I think, we know what our best team is by and large at this point. We've done this on the UMBU, which is the build-up show for normal people who don't like to acronymize things. You'll be able to get that as a podcast as well. If you like our stuff in audio form, the build-up show is going to be available on Acast, so you can just listen to it if you want. But yeah, we talk about the Start 11. Chris is going to do the Start 11 prediction show live tomorrow. Tune in for that. But personally, I don't think the question marks in Liverpool's team selection are going to be up front. I think they might be in midfield and possibly a little bit in defence as well. Yes. Sound.
Miles, he says, Paul, how do you feel? You've got your prediction right. Arsenal meltdown so soon.
I was wrong. I predicted it would come after Bournemouth. I thought they'd get through. I thought they'd beat Stoke against the expectations because I thought that's how the season would go. I thought they'd build up, we'd beat them, and then they'd lose to Bournemouth, and then it would all go off. As it turns out, they've lost to Stoke. But then again, we can still beat them and they can still lose to Bournemouth. And just imagine. Arsenal Fan TV will get to like 2 million subscribers before the window shuts, if that happens, is all I'm saying. Jamie Murray, why haven't we got rid of Markovic yet? Because I don't think anyone wants him. I think there's two players. Jurgen Klopp said in his press conference at the end of the match, no one's talked about him being happy about whether he wants to keep us. He wants to keep all of his players, but I don't think he counts Markovic, and I don't think he counts Saka in that. I think they're two players who will just, as deadline day approaches, some club will be looking around, they'll panic and they'll buy him. Like someone like Newcastle will take a Markovic off us, or a Watford or whatever, and we'll end up getting the money for both of them at some point, I think, toward the end of the transfer window. One more, say?
Matsy1892 thinks that we need the director of football needed for transfers.
We've got one. Yeah, we have one already. Whether he's any good at his job.
He also thinks FSG should be out.
Well, of course he does. No, we do have a director of football who's in charge, and it's Michael Edwards. He's the mysterious man with the laptop, which is a really, really condescending thing to say in modern football because all the best clubs have got people with laptops. They're quite important, aren't they, in modern life? Do you think a pen and paper? No, we've got one, and I guess we'll know in the fullness of time, probably, by this time next year, we'll have a clear indication of whether the man was doing his job properly or not, which is really unfortunate because I'd love to have an answer right here and right now. And yeah, so, here we go. Manny Loy, sorry. Paul, do you feel a bit sorry for Phil? Like, as much as we value our club, a move to Barcelona is massive and obviously a dream of his. Do you feel any guilt at all? I understand Phil Coutinho's desire to play for Barcelona because most people want to play for Barcelona, and I understand that here's what happens in transfers, and I've been told this by other people who work in the industry and have a hand in transfers and what have you, that effectively you receive promises from the buying club, and that's if you act like a bit of a dickhead and you upset your home club so that they are forced to sell you, don't worry, we'll be here to catch you, effectively. And that's what happened with Raheem Sterling. Very much, they got the nod from City to say, do what you got to do to help get out the club and we'll be there. Don't worry, the offer will be there. Now, it's a difficult situation for Phil Coutinho because in any other season, Liverpool accept that bid. Liverpool accept £80 million over 500 seasons and whatever shite they've added on as well. They just do because that's well more than Phil Coutinho's actually worth. But this transfer market's gone a bit mad, and Liverpool are back in the Champions League, and they're very much trying to put down a marker that says they're not an irrelevant force in Europe anymore. So yeah, I do have a bit of sympathy for Phil, but a lot of that sympathy is counterweighted by the fact that he put a transfer request in the day before the season started. Doesn't mean he's apparently tarnished in my mind and my brain and all those things, and probably in other body parts that I generally think about when I think about Phil Coutinho. No, he'll be fine. As soon as he starts playing for Liverpool again and playing well, I won't give a shit, and no one else will either. But yeah, anyway, leave your thoughts on Phil Coutinho in the comments.
One quite interesting comment, and it's probably a bit too deep for a live show, but unbelievably gauche says, why don't players just sign shorter contracts? Contracts mean fuck all.
It's so clubs can protect the value of the players, effectively, is the reason why that's done. You know, you sign someone down to a 5-year deal, and it effectively means, for the start, you can theoretically plan for the future. You don't have to worry about them, because inevitably, if contracts get renewed every couple of years, there's a lot of work, and we all know contracts go up, contracts don't go down. You sign someone for 5 years, and theoretically, it means you might get 2 or 3 before you'd have to sign up to a new one. Whereas if you're on 2-year deals, every year you'd be constantly chasing your tail, and it's supposed to give you a little bit of comfort and security. Ha 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 ha. How funny does that sound when you say it out loud? Anyway, we'll do some more stuff. Got some amazing shows lined up for you. The Final Word show is out on the redmentv.com. Brilliant look back at the match over the weekend. The Reds transfer roundup is coming up Wednesday, where with Steve Hoare as well. Again, look more in depth and detail on transfers. If you want a final look at Liverpool's transfer window, ins and outs, and what it means moving ahead into the new season, watch that. The redmentv.com, £5 a month. I believe I'm right in saying the first month's still free, so if you like it, do it. Loads of extra stuff. Audio features now available, so if you just like listening to podcasts, we've got 5 podcasts a week going on there, as well as a whole host of exclusive shows as well. Like it, love it, watch it, hate it, do what you gotta do. If you want more of me, subscribe to Mates TV. That's my channel, nearly on 90,000 subs, which would be amazing if we could cross that soon. And on to 20. Thanks for watching. Thoughts on anything we've discussed in the comments below if you're watching after the fact. And I'll see you back for more news tomorrow. Cheers.